What's up, everyone? All right, so in today's episode, I'm going to talk about Trader Rehab. I am in day 2 of Trader Rehab. It's not going so well. Those of you who tune in every day, you know that last week was a red week for me. And now I'm a day trader, and red days happen, and red weeks happen, and even red months happen. So they're not always, you can't always read a whole lot into 1 or 2 red days, because that's just part of the deal with being a trader. They happen. I mean, there's just no getting around it. So the only thing about last week was having 5 consecutive red days in a row. That is, it's unprecedented. I have once before done 6 consecutive red days. It was the same time of year. It was 3 years ago. But this is nothing to brag about. I'm not impressed. So having 5 red days last week, for me, got me to a point where I was like, okay, I don't want to break my previous record by having 6 or 7 red days in a row. Let's stop the bleeding right now. I'm going to check myself into a short Trader Rehab stint. And this isn't my first time here. I'm a repeat customer. So the thing with Trader Rehab is, and I have a class on this that I taught with 2 members of our trading psychology team at Warrior Trading. So it's a 5-chapter class that covers the Trader Rehab program that I built based on my own experiences of putting myself in Trader Rehab. So I can summarize a little bit of that class here in this episode, but the long and short of it is that if you are going through a period of bleeding, losing money, first and foremost, you need to stop the bleeding. You need to stop what you're doing because it's not working. And that can be very frustrating. You don't always understand why it's not working, but you have to obviously stop if something's not working. So for me, when I put myself into Trader Rehab, basically what I do is I put guardrails on my trading. I reduce my share size. I reduce the frequency of trades, the number of trades I'm taking, and I reduce the amount of time that I'm trading in the market each day. All of this is designed to get me to focus on trading A-quality setups, getting in, getting green, and getting out, and trying to build a track record of, 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive green days to just kind of regain my momentum and regain my confidence. So on Tuesday, yesterday, I sat down. We had a long weekend. So for those watching this a month from now or a year from now, market was closed on Monday. So we had a 3-day weekend. So I come back Tuesday morning, and I know that I actually tend to, on a Tuesday after a long weekend, I could trade a little bit. I could be like a little trigger happy, like ready to like hit the ground running. And that's not always a good thing because the markets the day after a long weekend holiday can be a little slow. So yesterday I took my first trade and I made $100 bucks, whatever. I took my second trade, I lost $850, so I'm down $750. I took my third trade and I lost another $850, and I was like, are you shitting me right now? I'm on my 6th consecutive red day, I'm down $1,500. This is ridiculous. So I wasn't pleased. And another stock started to pop up and I jumped in it pretty aggressively. And I ended up making about $2,000, $2,200 on it, something like that. Finished the day up $700. But that wasn't a great trade in the sense that I took more risk than I should have for Trader Rehab. And if I had lost on it, I probably would have lost at least $1,500 on it. And then just like that, I would have been down $3,000 on the day. My max loss is $5,000. I would have been right up at, 6 red day in a row, max loss. So today I was like, all right, talking to myself, giving myself a little pep talk. I'm like, okay, yesterday, day 1 of Trader Rehab didn't go so well. You got to bring it back down a little bit. So I said, and I actually wasn't even sure I was gonna, I had something else that I thought I was gonna have to do today, and I ended up having to do it. So I wasn't even sure I was gonna be able to trade today. But anyways, I was able to trade, and I was like, let's just take it very, very slow. So this morning, we had a stock that came out with news, 130% increase in net profits over the last 3 months. And so I was like, okay, there we go. I jumped in that, 2 trades, I made $400. And I was like, that's it. I need 2 green days, right? Now, listen, I am down still, 20,000 from last week, 5 red days in a row. 4 of them were at my max loss of 5,000, and then Friday I was down like 400. So whatever. I'm still quite a ways from recouping losses in a meaningful way, but the small win is a mental victory. Especially, you need that. You need to regain confidence. And I did hesitate a little bit yesterday, and I hesitated a little bit today, because after, so many red days with poor accuracy, I just was like, I don't know. And, hesitating did cost me because I missed a couple of opportunities. So, this is part of the opportunity cost when you get into a little bit of a slump, is that your confidence is shaken, and then you don't step up to the plate, or you step up a little bit more conservatively, and it can kind of have this rippling effect over the course of, the days or even weeks or even months that you're trying to recoup those losses. So today, day 2 of Trader Rehab, today was better. Today was definitely better, except that one of the stocks that was on my watch list, it was a bit of a wild card stock, and wild card stocks are what got me into the sort of slump. That's what started the slump last week. So I was like, don't do it. But this wild card stock ends up going up like 150%, and it went from about $44 a share up to $50, up to $60 to $70 to $80 to $90 to $100 to $130 a share, and I didn't trade it. So I didn't trade it because when I first looked at it, I saw the spreads, I saw the volume, and I said, nope, I cannot afford the loss. And if I can't afford the loss, I can't participate in this trade, because it doesn't matter how much it could go up, I can't handle the drawdown. So I said, no, I'm not going to trade it. And the first time it popped up, it went up to about 48 and then dropped, or 46, and then dropped down to 40, which was a 6-point flush. And I was like, see, that's why you're not going to trade that, because that's too risky. Then it comes back up through 40 and halts at 45 and then halts at 48. And I was like, it resumes and immediately rips to 54 or whatever it was, halts up again. And I was like, oh man, okay. Now I'm getting a little FOMO. And this is part of the process that often comes with having, being in Trader Rehab, is dealing with some FOMO, because you might miss some opportunities. When you're putting on the guardrails, when you're restricting yourself, there's going to be a B quality setup, maybe like that one was, that does work, but you miss it. Shoot. And then are you going to be the one who capitulates and gives into FOMO and buys the top? And then all of a sudden, just like that, I could be down, 4,000 or 5,000 or more. And now I'm on another red day, and my one tiny green day yesterday is like all for nothing, because I'm back to the lows. I'm back to being emotionally activated, et cetera, et cetera. So Trader Rehab to me is about protecting your emotional state and trying to, as quickly as possible, get yourself back into a state where you're going to have confidence and conviction. And you have to be very careful, because, you can very quickly rationalize, no, I should take that trade. Look, we don't every day get a stock that goes up that much. I should just forget Trader Rehab and just trade it. But then if you lose on it, then what? Then you're like, okay, Trader Rehab tomorrow, but seriously this time. But then what if you have to make another exception? So you can constantly make these exceptions, and I don't think that that's it's not really the right move to do that. So my thought with Trader Rehab is that you have to be very disciplined for that window of time, that period of time. And for me, what I usually do is I check myself into Trader Rehab, so to speak, and I keep myself in a pretty tight Trader Rehab program with pretty tight guardrails until I have recouped about half of my loss. The thing is, today, as of today, I've recouped 1,100 or so of the 20,000. So I took 20 steps backwards and 1 step up, right? So if tomorrow I lose 5 grand, I'm back to being down 24,000 or whatever it is. And I'm just stair-stepping down. And if I go to new lows, emotions are going to go right back to the high of where they were 2 days ago, or even higher, because I'm going to be so frustrated that I had another setback. So what I have to do is work with really small kind of incremental progress until usually I've recouped about half of the loss. And then once I've recouped half the loss, that's when I start to feel like the wind's at my back and things are moving. And you know what? Hey, sometimes I'll recoup half the loss in one day. Sometimes that happens, not because I was taking a lot of risk or anything else, but because the market was just really hot and you know, that was the condition of the market. That's awesome when that happens, but you can't count on that. So it's better to plan that it may take, you know, 5, 8, 10 days, whatever it might be, depending on the size of your drawdown, to get to that point where you can start to, you know, pull the guardrails back a little bit. This is the approach that's worked well for me. And, you know, I say this as someone who's made over $12 million in gross profit. I've been doing this for a long time, and I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't found a way to get back on the horse after getting knocked down. Because I've gotten knocked down off that horse real hard many times. I had a $275,000 red day. That's the biggest red day I've ever had. And, you know, I had no choice but to recoup. I mean, I could have said I quit. I'm going to quit trading, you know, but at that point I had already made millions. And so I knew I could make millions again. I just needed to put myself in Trader Rehab and get through. So for those of you that are interested in the Trader Rehab program, this is a part of my Warrior Pro curriculum. I would love for you guys to check it out because I really think this is something that will help you if you're going through a similar struggle. But, you know, please comment down below on the different things that you might do when you're in a similar situation. My view on it is that you have two choices. Well, maybe three. When you have after a big loss, you can quit. That's one choice. You can say, I'm done. I'm not going to trade anymore. You can keep doing what you're doing. You're probably going to keep losing. I mean, you know, maybe you'll bounce back, but if you're on a real red streak and something's not working, you've got to make an adjustment. And so then the third is to make an adjustment to your strategy, to pivot a little bit and to try to see this through. Now it's snowing right now and I have my skis in the back of the car. And this is one of these things that you have to tune your skis a little bit to the conditions of the mountain, and you have to be able to tune your strategy to the conditions of the market. And I'm not always as good at this as I'd like to be. Yeah, in hindsight, it's always 2020. It's always super clear that, oh, I should have sized down sooner. I should have, you know, this or that. In the moment, it could be very hard to tell, you know, did I just hit a little rough patch and it's going to be back to smooth sailing? Or smooth skiing, or whatever, however you want to think about it, or is this the beginning of a bigger shift in the market? Certainly, after a few red days in a row, it becomes more obvious. And my trade, probably my worst trade, was the one that I took on Thursday, where I lost 7,500 and just, you know, went from green to red on the day, because that was a bad trade. I mean, that was just me taking too much risk, buying way too high, and that was where I was like, okay, we got to correct here, because I'm getting too emotional, I'm getting too frustrated, I'm getting stubborn. And when you start getting stubborn with your trades, the market will show you very quickly what that can do, and it could be really bad. So I hope that this is interesting. I thought I'd throw it out there because my first 2 days of Trader Rehab, you know, weren't really the best, but I gotta stick with it. I do feel some FOMO for sure that I missed that move on the stock today that went up, you know, 150%. But on the other hand, I feel good that I was able to maintain the discipline to not jump in something that was up that much, knowing that the spreads, if I had gone in and it went the wrong way, would have not been a small loss, it would have been a big loss. And if you can't handle the risk, ask about risk first, then you shouldn't be in the trade. So, you know, this is a time, for me at least, to focus on chipping away at base hits, trading what's well within my strategy, both in price and float and everything else. And once I regain a little bit more confidence, and maybe by that time the market will pick up a little bit, I can start to branch out to, you know, B quality setups that have a little bit more risk, but, you know, the ROI might be there and I can justify it. But this is something that hopefully you guys are thinking about as well in your trading. I know a lot of you have been at this for quite a while. Some of you are brand new, of course, but many who might be watching this have been at it for a while. You may have had to put yourself into some kind of Trader Rehab. So I'm right there with you. I know how it feels. I know how frustrating it is, but it's this is a quote I mess up every time, but it's better to live with the discomfort of holding yourself to discipline than the pain of the regret that you broke your rules, gave into FOMO and everything else. I feel discomfort right now. I feel frustrated. I missed a huge move. I feel FOMO, but I'm not going to give into it. And that's the important thing. I'm going to hold the discipline. Now, tomorrow, I need to make sure I can press the reset button and come in fresh and trade the market that I'm in and not be thinking about what happened the previous day. And that's always tricky. All right, so that's where tomorrow morning I need to calm, cool, collected, reset, trade the market that's right in front of me. And hopefully I'll have a good day on day 3 of Trader Rehab. And a red day is okay. I mean, it's okay as long as it's a small red day and where I didn't break my rules, that's fine. Red days are okay in Trader Rehab. It doesn't have to all be green. You just have to have discipline and follow your rules. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. Reminder, as always, my results aren't typical. There's no guarantee you'll find success because trading is risky. Losing money happens. And I hope you trade in a simulator before you put real money on the line. And I'll see you for the next episode.